Good morning, kids. It is good to be with you this Thanksgiving week. So, now, today's story. Last week, we talked about Daniel being in the lion's den, but how God was faithful and protected Daniel, right? This week, we're learning about how God is faithful, not just to one person, but to his whole people, the whole nation of Israel. So Israel has been conquered. They've been under the rule of this country called Babylon, right? But the trajectory, the course of history is that empires rise and empires fall. And so there was this new upcoming empire, and that is the Persian Empire, okay? And so the Persian Empire, they actually overthrow the Babylonians. They conquer the Babylonians. And so now Persia is ruling over Israel. And the Persian ruler, his name is King Cyrus. And now he is sometimes known as Good King Cyrus. And we'll find out why in just a second. So, Israel no longer in the Babylonian exile. They are now under the authority of the Persian Empire, and under the rule of good King Cyrus. So what makes King Cyrus so good? Well, once they took over, once the Persian army took over, and once King Cyrus was ruling over the Israelites, do you know what he did? He told the Israelites, he said, do you know what? You guys, you can go home. You no longer have to live in foreign lands. You no longer have to live under the rule of a foreign king. You guys can go home. That's great news, right? That's all the Israelites have wanted. So, the Israelites get to go home. But King Cyrus, he goes one step further because we talked earlier about the temple. Do you remember the Israelites built the temple? It was like this special house for God where they knew that God would always be with them. Well, in the previous exiles, right, when they had been conquered, those nations had torn down and destroyed the temple, right? And that really hurt the Israelites. But good King Cyrus, he made a decree. He said, you rebuild the temple and let us know if you need any help with supplies, with builders. We are going to help you rebuild the temple. That's really good news, right? That's exactly what the Israelites have been wanting this whole time, that they get to go back home and that someone respects the God, the true God, and helps them rebuild the temple, right? And this is the ultimate reminder that even we're at the very bottom, when it feels like everything in our life is going wrong, when nothing can go right, God has never left us, and God wants to rescue us, right? Because God used good King Cyrus to rescue his people, Now, in 2 weeks, we're going to talk about the ultimate rescuer, right? Because all of this has been building up. We're almost done with the Old Testament, right? And we've been building up and building up because God has promised this entire journey that he is going to send someone that will rescue not only the Israelites, but would rescue all of humanity forever. And we are getting so close to that, so very close. We'll be starting talking about that in 2 weeks. But for now, right, he is not the ultimate rescuer, but he is a rescuer. God used good King Cyrus to rescue the Israelites from exile and help them rebuild their temple. What great news. So, that is it for today. Next week will be very interesting. It'll be kind of quiet, and you'll see why. Next week will be kind of quiet. All right? So, I will talk with you later. I hope you have a good week. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving.